So I'd love to hear your reaction to these tangible action steps that not only are NBA players taking now, but different people who work inside the league and others around the community of the NBA.
Well, newsflash, without Black Lives, America wouldn't matter. And what ends up happening when you were brought to this country initially based on your free labor, and then all of a sudden you could become rich and or famous because of your athletic prowess, it now puts you in the room because you have people that are fans and or supporters of yours that don't look like you. It's called the Robin Hood theory, and that's what we're seeing right here. We see the rich players who, like many employees across the country, can strike, boycott, protest, and a lot of times when people are doing that, there are other people that still walk right by you and still go patronize that business. But the difference here is the players understand that they are the product. So therefore, without the product being on the court, now you're forced to listen to what I have to say. And now, when we continue to see these incidents happen, Ahmaud Brooks, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, the list goes on and on and on. I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot. We've been saying these things for decades. So it really warmed my heart, Greeny, as somebody that was born into the NBA family, to see my NBA brothers actually take a stand because they understood that the power that they had. And there will be people that's like, oh, so it was only a day. What did they get accomplished? What did they get accomplished is they stood on the shoulders of giants. I hope Muhammad Ali rolled over in his grave in enthusiasm, watching how these young men, these aren't elected officials. I was watching TV last night, and I ain't gonna get too much into that. These guys are trying to give back to their community. They're trying to function during a pandemic. They're in a bubble making sacrifices. They're young men, and now they're writing legislation to try to make change in their community. This is outstanding work. And the giants that they stand on shoulders of, Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I see Bill Russell's tweets, Tommy Smith, John Carlos, Colin Kaepernick, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. All of these people, Greeny, when they tried to rise up and have an opinion, were ostracized by society. They were forced to not be able to get jobs, not be able to take care of their families, not be able to make a living. You see the messages on the back of those jerseys? Love us? We're asking to be loved. Reform, vote, liberation, education reform. There were times when we had to beg to go to schools to be integrated, to be educated. So now for the movement to be graduated to sports and for those athletes to be using their power amongst their owners, because that's where the Robin Hood theory comes in. Hey, we get it. We can't get into the doors you get. You own all of the networks. You own all of the teams. You own all of the companies. You own 497 of the Fortune 500 companies. You own everything. But guess what we own? Our labor and our voice. We're just asking you to work with us for equality and try to subside some of the societal ills that we're dealing with. And I applaud the NBA players that led to a domino of sports being canceled. WNBA, I love them so very much. Major League Soccer, NHL missed games, Major League Baseball missed games. Players are taking knees. The WNBA locked arms as a league. As a league, they locked arms. This is serious what's happening right now. And maybe they just took a day off because they were hurt. You know, you have a sprained ankle, you want to go, but you know what? It ain't Game 7, okay? That ain't what we feel. If this is a sporting event, we looking up at the score, and it's over 400-0. And it's still the first quarter, and we're trying to figure out a way to go play. So each moment is taking field position. That's what we're doing. Yeah, we get 1 or 2 first downs, and then we may have to punt. It's cool, but we're going to keep coming.
That's so well said, Jalen, and there's so much there. I'd love to get your thought quickly, if I could, also on something Marcus just said a few minutes ago that really struck me, which is, and I don't want to single him out again, but when Bruce Arians says something to the effect of, a protest is not enough. People need to be doing more. And Marcus said, people are doing so much more than anyone realizes, and there's no one who understands that, Jalen, better than you do, as one who created and runs a school in Detroit, as you do. And I just wonder your thoughts on that, on people who would say, well, these players can protest, but how about actually doing something tangible, the degree to which so many are doing so much more than people realize?
So I'm not mad at Bruce Arians. As a matter of fact, I never get mad at people to tell us exactly how they feel, regardless of what their opinion is. My problem is when people act a certain way in public and then they feel a different way in private, and it comes off to be racism for our society. And I'm one person that continues to preach that white silence is violence. And so for him to sit up there and have an opinion and say that he's watched the protests happen since 1968 and he feels that we have not made the progress, that's him talking to the people that look like him to me. When he says that basically crap didn't happen because of a protest, we all know that that's not fact. But I do appreciate him acknowledging what's taking place. And to Marcus Spears' point, and to what you just brought up about what we do in our communities, we have been doing things in our community since the beginning of time. The difference is it don't get covered. It don't get talked about. I just had my 10th annual JRLA, Celebrity Fundraising Golf Outing, for an open enrollment, tuition-free public charter high school in the neighborhood that I grew up in, the 48235. And again, I want to make sure I say this. It's not black versus white. It's everyone versus racism.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.